and longevity. Praise the Most High for each and every brother and sister, man, woman, and child that's in attendance. Praise the Most High for your lives, and honor be unto you in the name of the Most High Yah. At this time, we're going to say Amadiyam Wapan Yah HaKodam, which is stand and face the east. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu Malach HaOlam. Blessed are you, Yahweh, our Elohim, King everlasting, the King of the universe. Blessed be your set apart name. Toda Rabbah Gadol Elohim. Thank you so much, a very much, great Elohim, for our lives. Modeh ani Yahweh Eloheinu Malach HaOlam. I give thanks to you, Yahweh, our Elohim, Lachai, for life. I thank you for the Shabbat day in which we are able to gather to come to worship you, to learn of you. And at this time, as we go to cultural portion, the study of the language and the study of the scriptures of Most High, we ask if you would give us a ruach of understanding, a ruach of learning, and that your ruach HaKodesh will come in and do the teaching. We ask if you would plant your words in good soil or good ground, plant it into our hearts where it would not be taken from us, O Most High, that we would water it, we would nourish it, we would continue to cultivate to make sure that we are fruitful and multiply in your words that you increase unto us, O Most High. Please show us the error of our ways each time we read your word. Most High, also show us the correction that we've made so we can praise your name. We identify that we have grown and we have circumcised something from our hearts, and we realize that I no longer do one thing that I used to do as I judge myself by the mirror of your Torah. We thank you because we see that your word says your mercy endures forever. So we're grateful and we're thankful for your mercy that's upon each and every one of our lives. And we ask your mercy will continue to be with us, O Most High. But let us not take your mercy as a liberty, an occasion to sin, or an occasion to do things which we want to do while thinking that you will forgive us. Because truly you are the Savior, you are the forgiver, you are the true judge, and no man can say whether you will or will not forgive someone. So Most High, let us not take your mercy, your kindness, your word that we read and seeing what you have done for others for granted, that we align ourselves with your wrath because we try you, Most High, repeatedly. So, Abba, we just ask if you will create in us clean and new hearts, O Most High, hearts that will mature, hearts that will be set apart unto you, hearts that will be disciplined, and hearts that will obey your mitzvah, your commands, hearts that will praise your name and desire to praise your name, and hearts that love your commandments, all of the Most High, even the ones we're not yet currently keeping, that when we hear a new commandment, and when we realize that we're doing something that is in error, Most High, let us have a joy to know that we realized that we were doing wrong, as well as a joy to embrace that which we now have to do. We praise you and we honor you and we esteem your name. Let us put you above all things. Let us put you above ourselves and our desires. Let us put you above all ways on this earth, because you, Yah, are over everything. And as we say, Yahuwah over everything. You're the reason why we sing. So Most High, we're grateful and we're thankful for this yom, this day, this Shabbat, which you set apart for man to be set apart unto you. So continue to create in us clean hearts, O Most High, that we will be set apart unto you. Baruch atah Yahuwah, Baruch Hashem Yahuwah, Baruch haba Hashem Yahuwah, hallelujah. So be it, and amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yeshabiim, which means be seated. Yeshabiim, plural for Yeshab. Yeshab is sit, be seated. Yeshabiim is saying plural to everyone be seated. We're down to our cultural portion for today. So is Taylor on the line? Because he had a question I was going to start with, but I don't know if he's online. You see Taylor online by chance? I'll hold that portion until if his name appears online, let me know.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna be doing some Hebrew reading, today on different levels. We're gonna do some reading for the reading practice for the readers, and then we're gonna also do some reading for memory for us to start getting accustomed with reading portions of the Tanakh in Hebrew. We're trying to get some understanding and just discussing the words, and also to build a memory of the words that we're learning. Our vocabulary in Hebrew, just like in English, there are words that we learn along the way. There's words we learn through conversation. There's words we learn through someone else's conversation. For an example, Zakane Eliyahu and Zakane Mattathias, they use words that a lot of us don't use sometimes. Their vocabulary is very large, and they may use a bigger word than some of us may use for certain things. And when they utilize it, you get an understanding when they explain it to you. But then you go back, you look the word up for yourself, and then you say, you know what? I'm going to add this now to my vocabulary. So with Hebrew, it has to be the same way. When we're hearing words, sometimes we will hear new words, but through repetition, through going back and saying, okay, now I know this word means that, then we try to hold it to our understanding. That's the way we build our vocabulary. So the way we're going to be building our vocabulary is going to be a few different ways. One way is we're going to go back to Bereshit with our reading and just read forward. And as we're reading forward, we want to focus on just reading the word, meaning sounding it out, but we also want to focus on the vocabulary word and sit there in Genesis so we can build a vocabulary from that way. We'll also be building a vocabulary from the words that we put up on the word and from the lessons of words of the day or words for the Shabbat that we'll be covering. That'll be another way we build a vocabulary. And hopefully at some point, we start realizing we have a pretty broad vocabulary in Hebrew and we start learning to put it all together. So there was a question that came up last week. So I'm going to start there today and I'm going to come from the mic and I hope everybody online can still hear me clearly. Can I still be heard clear online or do I still need the microphone?
Game.
Yeah, you can hear. All right, total rabbi. So what we have up on the board at this time, so we're not going just through our vocabulary words today. There was something that came up last Shabbat, which was a good pull. So we have on the board is we have the vowel symbols up on the board, which is the cool vowel signs and symbols. And we have each of them, Sagol, Zri, Kamatz, Patak, Shiwa, Cholam, Sharuk, Kabot, and Perek, right? Where is the marker at? So each of these vowels that we've already covered, they make a sound, but for sake of time, there are those, and depending on what school of thought that you come from, they make different sometimes with how they say vowels are pronounced. But for right now, we're going to stick with the A-class vowels here. Here's two of the A-class vowels here, which will produce what's generally called the A sound. All right. So I want y'all to let me write it big so you can see from the back. And I'm doing it this way for a reason because I want to do something from a visual aid perspective today. All right. I'll give those any bigger. It's A sound. A sound. A as in they. As in bed. And so here are the these two make as in father. This is A as in they, like AY or the THEY. A as in they. This is the E as in bed, like the E sound is in bed. The correct is the double E, which is considered an I vowel, but it makes the E as in B sound. Kaboots makes the U sound, or somebody say a double O sound, which is still going to be oo. You have the Sharuk here, which is going to also make the U or oo sound. And then you have here the Holum Y, or just the Holum. The Holum would be just a plain dot, or the Holum Y. So I'm going to put the plain dot here. So this is the Holum or the Holum Y, which makes the O sound. All right. And then we have the Schwa, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. So these are the sounds that's made. So again, the language is going to be consonant, vowel, consonant, meaning the consonant, because Hebrew is a consonantal language, meaning the way that it is written with consonants. So when you see the scriptures, you see the consonants written. You don't see the vowels written within the language. You see the consonantal letters. The ancient Hebrew would know when the vowel sounds were applied because they knew their language. So the Nakul vowel point system was added to try to aid and to help those coming forward how to pronounce the language. The modern or the biblical Hebrew that we're using today does not necessarily, because I know questions will be coming up, so we will go ahead and state it. There are those that would tell you that they do not know exactly how the ancients would have spoken certain things. So they would say customarily today, this is the pronunciation system that we utilize, and what the ancients could pronounce things slightly different. But for the sake of grammar rules and understanding what we do have, the sounds could be different as long as the letters are spelled the same and the definition of the word is the same. That's what we're looking for. So the phonetic sound sometimes with the vowel system or the way people pronounce certain letters can give words a slightly different sound. However, as long as it's spelled, you can identify what the word is. That's what matters, the actual correct spelling, because each one of the letters have a numeric value and each letter also has a meaning. But these vowel sounds will be placed either beneath, beside, or above a consonant in the word, which gives you the vowel. So in English, we would say, well, if we would spell that, we don't spell that THT. We spell that THAT. It's written within. In Hebrew, the A's and the O's and the U's are not written within. The vowel points are what's inserted for us to know what sound goes there. All right. So here are the vowel sounds that we have as written on the board. So again, the two of the eight vowels are the patak and kamatz, which is going to be a sound. We have zri, which is a sound. Sagol, which is et as in bed. We have kerek, which they call it an I, But E as in beat, kibbutz or kibbutz or kibbutz, which is going to be a U, oo sound. You have oo or U, which is giving you the oo as in blue or in boo. And then we have the holum and the holum wa. The holum and the holum wa, which is going to be also an O sound. All right. And then we have schwa. And so main man is here now. So Taylor asked a question last week about schwa, shava, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Said, what is shwa? What does the shava do? So there are some that would say shwa is a placeholder, and they would say that it's not a vowel. There's others that say that it is a vowel. I'm not going to get into that argument whether it is or isn't a vowel, because whenever shwa is brought up in the speaking of the language and in the grammatical rules, it is brought up in the vowel section. So regardless if we want to argue, I'm not going to get into whether it is or isn't a vowel. We know that it's taught in the section with the vowels. All right. So for one, but what Taylor wants to know is, but what does schwa do? All right. So it does a number of things. For one, it's going to be the two vertical dots, right? So one of the things that it may do is it may tell you to pronounce something a little quicker or a shorter sound, right? So the makes sound. So if I put Taylor, I'm gonna do this for you. What sound would that make? Ba. Okay, I'm gonna do one more.
Hello.
La. So this is ba and la, right? So for those who are trying to learn the letter, the bet represents a B and the lamed represents an L. So he said here ba. Why? I put the kametz, which is a long A vowel that makes the same sound. I put the kamatz there, which makes this ba. So consonant, vowel, ba. And then I put a patak, which is the short A vowel with the same sound of ah. So you have the L with the A class vowel after it. So you have la, consonant, vowel, la, right? So we have ba and la, right? Ba and la. So if I take this away and you had to pronounce these, kind of what sound would you kind of get still? Because Hebrew at the root level is an A class vowel system at the root level. So whether you see that vowel sign under there or not, you're going to pronounce that ba as a ba, right? Ba generally at a root level, la at a root level. So that's long, it has a long sound or that sound. A schwa under this would tell you to pronounce it quicker or with a hurried sound or with a shorter sound. So instead of going ba, ba, instead of la, it shortens the sound of the vowel. So it's shortened in some instances. Some may say le and things like that, but there's a word called balloon, and there's a word called maroon, and there's a word lagoon, right? So do we say lagoon? Huh? Do we say maroon? Do we say balloon? What do we say? Balloon. Maroon. Lagoon. So it's hurrying the sound. So instead of having that heavy sound, balloon, maroon, lagoon, balloon, lagoon, maroon. Okay? So it shorts it up, but it's still gonna have the same value of the vowel that would be there, but it's just telling you to hurry and shorten the sound. And so what it's used is for syllabification. So the she was very important because it really helps us with syllables, all right? And different ways of pronouncing words and how to put the words into syllables, okay? So that was a good question. So there are different rules with the Shua also. So the schwa in some places will be, as they would call, like a placeholder for a vowel. And they were saying there's not a vowel, it's like a placeholder, and it tells you to hurry. And it's also helping you produce the sound. So there are other rules with it. So one of the rules with it is this. There are two rules. They can either be a moving or a vocal schwa, or it can be a solid schwa, right? Meaning it does not pronounce the sound. So in a sentence, so in a word, I'll say in a word because that's what we're looking for. So in a word, if there are two back to back, meaning that under each letter, there's a letter here. So I'm gonna put the bet back here. I know it's kind of small, and the lamed back here, right? There's two different letters, but it's two shiwa right here, back to back, right? So if they're back to back, one of them, there's going to be a rule that one will be pronounced, one will be silent. Can any of the Hebrew students help me with the rule of that? Which, in the case that there are two that follows each other, that's back to back, two shawal that's back to back, which one is pronounced and which one is not pronounced? The second one is what? No. So the second one in a sequence like that, back to back, will be pronounced, and the first one will be silent. All right. So it's gonna be so let you know when to pronounce a vowel sound or have a syllable in between something, or when it's gonna be a closed or open syllable. So if it's the second one in a consecutive order like that, the second will be pronounced. So then the opposite rule is if it's the first in a consecutive order, it will be silent. All right. So it's like one rule is kind of two rules. If I'm the second in a consecutive order of shawal, I'm going to be said. I'm going to be pronounced. If I'm the first in the order of arrangement on a consecutive shawal back to back, I'm silent. All right. So these are all the rules. And so again, y'all hear how I'm trying to explain all this? That's what they're doing when they're up here reading. And that's why sometimes when we get to new words, we're slowing down. Why? Because we're trying to go through all these rules that we don't normally think yet. And we're trying to process the rules, go through the rules in our mind to pronounce these words. Also, there's other times when it'll be silent. If it's at the end of a word, if it's under the last letter of a word, it will be a silent. It's causing a stop and it's closing a syllable. All right. So and here's what you will see a lot in scripture for those that are reading. So y'all be aware of this. There's two ways that you will see sometime a ka written at the end of a sentence. So that's gonna be a kaf at the end, and you may see a shwa in here, right? That's telling you that that's gonna close the syllable. So if there would have been a bet in front of this, you would say this would be what? Bach, Bach, right? Bach. Why? Stops. You wouldn't say baka, baka. Because anytime it's at the end, it's going to close the syllable. So that would be bak. So it's telling you how to make the syllable. So that she was saying, you're going to stop right here. I'm closing the syllable. So this cannot be baka. It has to be bak. Now, and what you will see under these at the end of a lot of times, you see kamats under here. These are both open syllables. This will be baka, baka. So she was telling you how to pronounce a certain syllable, okay? When to stop, when to pronounce, when to stop, when to shorten, when to hurry. So it's telling us multiple different things. So that's going to be a short portion on that for the day. But did they help you with your question? All right. That was a very good question because now we're going to be going through some of that when we're reading and making syllables. And that's why a lot of times when we're reading words, there's sometimes you would hear words like if I would say Barak. Everybody know what Barak means in Hebrew? Anybody familiar with the word Barak? What's that? Blessed. Anybody familiar with Baruch? Huh? Blessed. Anyone familiar with Barakah? Blessing. But they all come from the root Barak. So when you start having these shields and things like that, so the Barak one wasn't that great of an example because you can still hear the ba in there, right? But there is a shield in there that makes it not Barak. Baruch, it's not Baruch, you know what I'm saying? Baruch, you know what I'm saying? Barakah, not Barakah, right? So that's a use of a shield to shorten that pronunciation to make the word flow. But then also what you're going to hear is with these vowel points, and depending on where they are, some words will go lost to the naked ear and to sight. With sight, you might pick it up because if you know what concept, if you know what a prefix and a suffix is, and you can know what the root word is, you can see it. But when the audience is listening to us read it, sometimes word sounds change. And the word sounds are changing based upon the vowel points extending and adding letters to a word, prefixes and suffixes, which makes the word sound change differently. And so sometimes that's why where you may hear something like Moreh, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the word is Moreh? And it comes from the root ra'ah or something like that. So how is Moreh and ra'ah the same thing? Because the root is going to be something to do with sight, and then another one going to be with who's doing the seeing. So it's a whole lot of that. That's beyond where we are. But saying all that, some of what I said you understood, and some of it you didn't understand, right? And that's natural. Why? Because if we don't know it, we don't know it, and it's okay to not know it. But once we know we don't know, then what we're doing now is we're trying to learn, we're trying to know. And so I do not consider myself a Hebrew master. I am a student of Ivrit. I'm a student of Hebrew. I don't consider myself a Hebrew teacher. I'm a Hebrew student that's studying with you Hebrew. All right. So to you, it may appear that I'm teaching you Hebrew, but the only thing I'm doing right now is studying while you listen to me study out loud. Okay. So a lot of people want to be the teachers. I'm a Hebrew student. I am not Hebrew fluent. So me becoming fluent is the more questions being asked me as I'm explaining rules over and over and over again. I'm studying. So then that's why when I asked someone to come up to the board and then they're the ones that would be hosting this portion, like I used to do with Zaken Yaqua, it was to do what? Allow him that opportunity to not present. Why? Because the more you're putting out, then you start doing what? Retaining it more as you're explaining it out. So I don't consider myself Hebrew scholar. I am not that. So don't ask me that. I'm not going to proclaim that like you see a lot of people online make it seem that they're more fluent than they are. I am a student and I am still learning. Just like I'm still learning English, I'm still learning the Bible. I do not know it all. Some people will make you feel like they've already arrived, they're already there, they know everything. That is not me. But I just know just enough to be dangerous. And that's what I will say. Just enough to be dangerous, just enough to be able to call them super smart people out on that nonsense. And that's what I want all of us to be. The Most High didn't call any of us to come here to be the scholars of Hebrew. He called us to be righteous. So we study the Hebrew because we know the word was written in Hebrew so that we can learn what did the Creator actually say unto us. And then we have people that's claiming to be super smart, that's misleading people with big words, whole bunch of words and a whole bunch of definitions and a whole bunch of charisma. You can be like, but I'm reading it and it doesn't say what he just said. Because I now see it for myself. Then you start being able to say, okay, they just putting on, and those that don't read, you can tell me anything if you don't know what I'm talking about, right? So with that being said, I'm about to transition to another portion. Maisha asked a question last week about reading. Do we read it as we see it? Or do we read it? Do we read with our preference over what we normally say? So we have on the board 3 words, right? Vowel pointed differently. All right? Can someone help me with the vowels first? Not the vowels, the letters. What's the letters in the first one?
Yo, hey, why?
What's the letters in the second one?
Yo, hey, why?
What's the letters in the third one?
Yo, hey, why?
What's the vowels in the first one?
Shiva and commence.
What's the vowels in the third one? Hmm?
No.
Hmm? You said what?
Looking at Shiva, Sagal, Holum, Shrek.
Shiva, Sagal, Holum, Shrek. And what do we have in the final one?
Shiva commence. And the whole.
Shiva Patak. So say what you see, and I'll explain some of this later. But right now, you still call it the vowels that you see because you're about recognizing. So some of these will be considered vowel combinations. Sometimes they'll be called when you have multiple vowels together. It can be a diphthong. We're not there yet. And then will be reduced vowels, which reduced vowels is going to be something I'm going to start covering here in a few weeks with everyone. But just still identifying the vowel. So you see what this says, right? But does anyone know what Yod, Hey, Wah, Hey is? And then I want to write it this way as well. I'm right over here. So now what do we have there?
Yeah, yo.
Yod, Hey, Wah, Hey.
Yeah, yo.
What are the vowels?
None. There's no vowels.
There's no vowels, right? So we have Yod, Hey, Wah, Hey, there's no vowels, but they are vowels, but we just don't see them. So when you're reading, a lot of times in the original text that was written before the modern versions that we have, when they added the Nakul vowel system, which wasn't the most ancient manuscript, they read without there being vowel points. So it would have just been written as written, right? So let me write two more up here. So we have what do I have written here?
Yo, hey, wah. Oh,
Dalet.
hey.
Okay. Pronounce the second one for me.
Yawada.
Huh?
Yawada.
You said Yawada? You said Yawada?
Is that a cough or yo?
Which one are you asking
The
about?
first letter.
The first one is Yo. I made that one a little curve. I'm up here. This is Yo. All right. So what do you have?
Yawada.
You said Yawad?
Yawada.
Yawada. You said Yawada. 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 Is he wrong?
Or Yahawada. Yahawada.
You said Yahawada.
How?
What would make Yahawada wrong?
I just shortened it, but
You shorten it. What would make it wrong?
No.
What would make Yahawada? What would make Yahawada wrong? Can we say it?
No.
If you don't know what vowels go there, can you say which way he pronounced it was right or wrong?
No.
But does anybody know what Yahwadah, as he said, Yahwadah or Yahwadah? Does anybody know what that is? Let me write it another way. Go ahead.
Because you don't have no vowels.
I don't have any vowels.
That can't be Yehuda.
You say that can't be Yehuda. Why can't it be Yehuda?
I'm asking.
You're asking it can't be Yehuda. Why are you asking it can't be Yehuda?
Because I keep hearing like the father's name.
Because you keep hearing the Father's name. You keep hearing the Father's name, but you want to know it couldn't be Yehuda? Well, maybe.
Ain't no vowels.
But if no vowels, but there is vowels. But if you don't know which vowels it is, then how do you pronounce it? Y'all see the arguments that we're having, and some of us can't even read it, and we follow behind people that's talking junk about someone from the dialect they're pronouncing, not even being able to visually see what they're talking about. I want you to be able to see. I'm not even trying to tell you that I'm right or wrong, but I want you to be able to see for yourself these petty arguments that we're having and dividing over. Because when it was originally written, it wasn't even this script. This is script y'all familiar. It had been written in the Paleo script, which still has the same letter value and the same letter sound that would be made. But the point is there would have been no vowels. So then she said she keeps saying the Father's name. She said, but could it be Yehuda? Yes, it could be Yehuda. You use matrix lexonis, and in the Hebrew, which we're not there yet, there are 3 letters. Sometimes they would call it 4 letters that would actually represent a vowel sound. So the ancients would know which 3 letters can be utilized as a vowel sound. And they already understood the rule of consonant vowel pronunciation, even though the vowels wasn't written in the text. They already knew because they spoke the language. So just like right now, there's I didn't even start off. I need my assistant to come help me. First of all, we forgot to do this. Come on front, Shemaiah, real quick. I need your assistant with something. Can you tell them how to say this is the day in Hebrew for me, please?
Zehayom.
And who did it? What's the rest of it? This is the day that, and tell them this is the day that Yah has made. Start over and tell them again.
Zehayom.
Get in front of the people. Get a little. Get in front of the people. You did good, baby girl. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Now watch this. Tell me how to spell Zay.
Z-A-Y.
Good job. Z-A-Y, right? She said Z-A-Y, that's how you spell Zay, right? But she spelled it from the English perspective, right? By what she's learning for sound out in English. Why did she spell it Z-A-Y from learning English? Because Iman teaches her school how to pronounce words. So growing up, she may not see it written down, but as she's riding by and she's being taught in the house, this makes an A sound, this makes a certain sound. She now is calling out words that she's seeing and she's reading from the book because she's been taught that and has no clue about grammar rules yet. Because you're taught that. So we're not taught that, but the Hebrews were taught that. They knew how to read it on sight because that's what they were doing. That's what they were taught. They knew the word. So even if they didn't read the word yet, and she may have never read the word yet, she's already heard Zehayom Asa Yahuwah. So then when she now learns this is how you spell a word, and she now sees, oh, that's Zeh, even though we spell it in Greek with the Z-E. A lot of times they have the Z-E-H, but she spelled from sounding out as a child. But my point I'm trying to get us to see is that it's what's learned. So she would have a vocabulary before reading anything, as all of us did. We were saying words before we read anything.
Yeah, thanks.
Right? So praise be to the Most High for giving me the saying. So common sense for the nonsense. We have to stop getting caught up in these petty different disagreements. And what I learned to start doing is, and I'm not getting into arguments with people that don't know enough to have a conversation with me. That's starting to sound cocky, but no, it says, answer not a fool in their folly. If you can't even identify what we're talking about, how you can so boldly tell me I'm wrong? Because you keep going by what everybody's saying, and we don't see how shallow this argument is. So, Yahwadah, Yahwadah. She said, why can't it be Yehuda? I keep hearing Yah's name in it. Yahwadah. You can hear in Yahawadah, 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 Yahawadah. He said Yahawadah and he said Yahawadah. That's pronouncing all consonants. And there's nothing wrong with that because it's still after that vav or wah, they put an A there, Yahawadah, right? So they're still at an A class. Those that don't use the modern vowel point system, they say Yahawadah. That still means Judah to them. Maisha said, well, could that be Judah? Yes, because it is Yahawadah, Yahawadah, or Yahudah. But just depending on the vowel points, but the letters that's there represent the name of Yehuda, which also has the name of Yah in Yahudah, or Yahawadah. And if we stop trying to be petty with how we pronounce it, Yahawadah, Yehuda, Yahawadah, Yehuda, Yahweh, at some point you're going to hear you talking about the same thing, right? So I use that just for a quick example. So the question that my Isha asked last week was, do we read it as we say it, or do we read it as we see it? And then I asked if anybody understood the question that she asked. So the question she was asking is because when you read the scriptures, a lot of times, the way you may see the Father's name vowel pointed is like this top one here. Someone read that for me. As you see it, not as you change it.
Yahuwah.
Yahweh.
Yeah. Wow.
Can I get those again? You said what?
Yahuwah.
You said what?
I said, yeah. Wow.
So I'm going to start with your side. You said what?
Yahuwah.
Where you get Yahuwah from the vowel points.
I see the yo, then I see the Shiva, and then I see hey, and I see the wow. It got the comments underneath makes the ah sound, and then I see the hey again, which like I believe closes it after I sound out the comments.
So you said it was what again?
Yahuwah.
Where you get the who from? Where you getting who from that?
From the H sound?
The H make an H sound. I'm just doing this to show you. So with the vowel pointed this way, you wouldn't necessarily get Yahuwah, right? Colt, what did you say?
I said, yeah. Wow.
You said Yahuwah.
Yeah.
Yahuwah.
Yes.
So she said Yahuwah. Why? Taylor, what does a shua at the beginning do to a sound? It quickens it. So where it normally would be saying Yah, just Yod, with a kamatz top would be Yah. It's saying set a little shorter. So you said what?
Yeah.
Yahuwah, 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 Yahuwah. So she still said Yahuwah, right? Because there's still a breath. There's breathing in this language also. Things that we're not factoring in. It's a breath that's going to be in it also. What was another sound I heard someone say?
I'm saying yeah.
You said what?
Like saying it like very shortly. It's like yeah. He's like yeah.
You said Yahuwah, right? So I'm asking where you get the U sound from.
I think it's like the same way how I get like Josiah like have Yahuwah. You have use the wa as the Yahuwah, the Hua part of it. So
and before anybody logs off online, I'm in no way going against Yahuwah. I'm just trying to show us something. So calm down. Because there's people that divide. Oh, I want to be a part of y'all assembly. Y'all say the name the same way. That ain't the reason to be a part of the assembly. We say the name the same way. If we say y'all, we say the same thing. Are we not? You know what I'm saying? We pronounce it slightly different. Are we keeping the commandments? You know, that really, there are people that divide for that. Like, oh, nah, how you say the name? Oh, I ain't coming over there. Y'all saying Yahuwah. I ain't coming over this guy. You ain't saying Yahweh. I ain't coming over there. I'm not trying to be funny, but I just want us to see how silly we sound, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to show us how silly we look with how silly we sound.
Yahuwah.
Right?
Yahuwah.
So I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong.
Yahuwah. Yeah.
But correction. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm going to say that if you were saying it the way that y'all said it would be wrong with the way it's vowel pointed here, because it's consonant, vowel, consonant. So this cannot have, because this is one of the letters that can take on the U sound, right? So it can take on the U sound, but it can't take on the U sound when the vowel's already under it. It's a consonant now, and the vowel is under it. So it goes back to its consonant value of a V, as modern people use, or the Y or the W as we use. So that would give you a Y sound right here. Now, if you was to take that away, for those that recognize it to be either O or U, you can now get the who of a O sound. Yes, sir.
I'm glad you said that because I was just thinking about the Yod and Shiva. And based on what you just said about the Y comments, is that the same? Does that same rule apply to the Yod and the Shiva? Instead of it being like yeah, it would be
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is that yes. So, yeah, it applies anywhere at the beginning of a letter. So any place the she was at the beginning of a word, it is vocalized. So always the she at the beginning of the word is always vocalized. But in vocalization, it's telling you to shorten the sound or to hurry the sound. Okay. So can someone help me with the second one? Let's pronounce this one. Oh my God, the screen don't go dead. I'm gonna stay still on.
Yeah.
Why you say yeah?
Because it's got the Yodas along with the seagull.
So the Yodas along the seagull and the Shua.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
And then it's got the wall. The hay has a hole in it. So it's about hole.
Yeah, hole. Okay.
And then the wall has a. It's a.
The Y has a correct under it.
Yeah, so E.
So E. So you have what?
Is it E?
Yeah.
And it's a hay. So. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Yehovi. Yehovi. As they would say with the modern, Yehovi. Right? Yehovi. Let's go to the last one. Yehovah, right? So now my question to you is that I may not be able to answer myself, but which way do we pronounce with all these different? Would that be a little confusing at some point?
Yes.
But now that you can see the fact that some people are pronouncing what they're seeing when they're reading the text. So when Maisha asked the question the other week, she said, do we read it how we say it, or are we reading it how we see it? Right? And so there's a mix that I would say to that. There's a way that we get to the point where we're reading for the sake of trying to sound out what we're seeing. We want to read what we see. And then we may say, but because of what we prefer, our preference, what we've decided that we're going to utilize, here's how we pronounce it. So then when we're in discussion, we pronounce it, here's how we pronounce it. But for reading, we may read what we're actually seeing, right? So now we have the way that it would be written, not exactly the way, because it would have been actually with the ancient writing, but we have without any vowels. So can anybody help me out without any vowels there?
However you want to pronounce it.
It says however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
So if it's however you want to pronounce it, try to pronounce it.
Yehovah.
But understand this: at a root level, Hebrew has a class vowel system.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's
And there's different ways to say it.
Yahweh.
You have what?
Wow.
Yahweh, right?
Yeah.
Yahweh. So when you hear somebody saying Yahweh, they're saying we don't mess with the vowel points because it's confusing. And the reason why they're saying that is because they see all these different variations. So they say we're going to stick with Yahweh, which is very close to this one. Yeah, it's shortened here. But if they don't shorten that, they can say Yahweh. Some may say Yahweh. Because if you don't know how to syllabize, because it's not telling you where to break the syllables, that's why you have Yahweh. You're having different renderings. Yeah. Now you can still, for those that now understand that this can represent a vowel, you can now say what? Yahuwah, if you decide, because you said, well, I know a vowel has to come in, and I'm not going to use the A vowel. I know this could be used as a U vowel or O vowel. I can say Yahuwah, I can say Yahuwah, right? That's where people getting all these different pronunciations from. And then there's going to be grammar rules that we're not going to even go into right now at this point, but I just want you to visually see what my Ishah was asking. And I know somebody's waiting for me to say, well, which way is it? That's not what I'm about to say today. What I'm going to say is it says, sing praise to his name, Yah. The reason why y'all hear me say Yah the majority of the time, because it's what says, sing praise to his name, Yah. There's no division in that. We are using the name of the Creator for division. And I don't think he's pleased with that. We're debating how to pronounce his name when most people that's debating and telling you that you're saying it wrong will not even be able to see what y'all seen today because some of them have not even done what? Started studying Hebrew at all. Couldn't even sound it out at all. Couldn't even pick a yod, hey, why, hey out of the pickup. Couldn't pick out a aleph, hey, yod, hey out of a lineup. But we'll tell you wrong, and we sit around there. Oh, what assembly you go to? Oh, y'all say Yahoo over there. Oh no, y'all got the wrong name. You like clown. You don't even study Hebrew. Your argument is shallow. And I also don't mean any offense to this when the Most High says don't add to nor take from the word, right?
Yes.
And if anybody if I'm wrong, please fact check me on this one. I did have a peer review, but please fact check me on this one because I could still be wrong. I have not read every scripture in Hebrew, right? But there are tools to look things up. But in my reading, what I've never recalled coming across was hallelujah, yod, hey, wah, hey. Y'all catch what I said?
Huh?
I've never come across in a text hallelujah, yod, hey, wah, hey. Do y'all anybody understand what I'm saying when I say that? Huh?
It's always Yah.
Yeah, it's always Yah, hallelujah. So now there's people that's using the hallelujah, and they say hallelujah, Yahuwah, hallelujah, Yahweh, hallelujah. They say it, but it tells us hallelujah. That's what the scriptures say. So when we're doing that, it was also, I'm not saying they purposely doing it. I mean, can they do it because they love the name? But we're taking it a little bit far, and we're taking it further beyond what was actually written or what our forefathers have been doing. And then I have another portion that I'm going to come into because I'm getting over time now. Mishpachah, we are using the Creator's name way too often. When we discuss conversation, yes, we want the Mashiach to be our friend. Yes, we want the Most High to be our friend, but they are our respected friends. I didn't call my mother and father by their names all the time. Unless I was telling my mother is so-and-so, my father is so-and-so. I called them Abba, Ima, Mom, Dad, something like that, right? We're in general conversation like the Creator is our buddy, and we, excuse me, Father, we are in every statement. We are watering the name down. Even in Islam, right? And y'all, some people want to knock me. It said be all things to all people. So you have to know what people are doing places. In order to be all things to all people, you have to know something about cultures of other people. And some of those people are still our people that's in Islam. And we have to stop knocking Islam because we ourselves, to say we don't understand the language, don't even understand that. They are seed of Abraham also. They're seed of Abraham also. But most of the people that's in Islam today that we know are Israelites. They're not the Ishmaelites. So they're still our people, but understanding some of the principles. So their discipline is different than ours. If we're having a conversation like it is, even if y'all hear me, if people's giving testimony and they're saying praise God and praise the Most High, and we're having a whole bunch of loud side conversation with somebody talking about the Creator in Islam and in the Muslims, and they discipline is, if they hear Allah, alhamdulillah, they're gonna get quiet and they're gonna show some reference and respect. We use our Creator's name all day, every day, watering it down, and we don't even have respect with the name. We have to get back to the honor of the Creator's name. You can go into certain books in the text, and the name was never written. You will see what they were saying, El Elyon, Most High. You see what they said, El Shaddai. You see what they said, Adonai. And we're around here thinking stuff is too Jewish. If you want to say Adawan, just say Adawan. Y'all know what Adawan is? I don't. Adawana? 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 Adoni. Adonai, you know. So the dialects, I'm not going to get into the dialect thing, but I'm just wanting us to see culturally and from the language what's going on. And then we also have to kind of reel it back in and say, yes, we need to know our Father's name and we're going to esteem our Father's name, but then we don't want to take his name in vain. I'm just gonna say why instead of the name, right? And I told why, and then I said the why, and then why said, and then we have to stop talking like that. The Most High been good to me this week. Oh, praise to the Most High. My Father has blessed me on this week. You know what I'm saying? If you seal it off with a hallelujah, just seal it off with that hallelujah, because you're saying praise Yah, but just to be casually just using his name, we kind of actually get a little overboard with the usage of his name. And I mean, no offense either with this. Yes, the Most High wants us to come at the culture and custom. And I mean, no offense to anybody that may view this, but there may be somebody that's currently new that's planning to do something. And if I'm wrong, I want the Most High to correct me. But naming our business with Yah in it, to let the person know we're serving the Most High, we don't have to put Yah's name in our business. I'm selling cars, and I need Yah name on it. I'm selling trash cans, I got a trash dump business, and I got Yah's name on it, because I want you to know I'm an Israelite, and I serve the Most. No, let them know you're an Israelite by being righteous. Let Yah's name remain what? Kadosh Kwadesh, set apart. It's set away from everything else. It needs to be a standalone thing. And so again, if I'm in error in any way, I would like Most High to correct me. But it's been something that I've seen a lot of, and we come out and everybody has their businesses now being in the name of Yah. Like, no, just represent Yah in your business. Have your fringes and your ZZs on. Have your righteousness on. Have your obedience on. Have your I don't eat pork, or no, I can't come partake in that, or we close down on Sabbath on. We don't operate on Sabbath. Why? Because the Creator says so, and I'm a Torah observant, follow Mashiach. That's what they know about you. That's why I'm closed on Saturday. Because I observe the Sabbath. But you don't have to put Yah on it. We're trying to stamp Yah's name on everything, and we're starting to make it common, even though his name would never be common. I'm just saying that's what we're doing, all right? The way we esteem the name of Yah by the way we live our lives, all right? So with that, Ms. Picard, any questions? Did this help at all? Taylor, that was a very good question. I did want to write some words up to help y'all pronounce the Shawah, but I'm at 126 mark. Are there any questions? Are there any comments? Is everybody still with me? How many people logged offline? But again, Mr. Picard, so I give all praise to the Most High for allowing us to study. And like I said, and the more you study, the more you start to see. And that's one thing I started doing. I stopped being repetitive and repeating what I've been told. Because then I started looking at something. I'm like, oh, man, that's ignorant. Like, I sound ignorant even still saying this ignorant stuff that we were saying to people when the word is not supporting the stance that we take a lot of times. So, and once you start having information and we have knowledge and you're no longer ignorant to things, you start to say, you know what? We've been representing our Father wrong. We've been making debates over certain things. We've been separating from people over certain things. We've been making mockery of people over certain things that they're just simply, as we were doing, the best that they could. Y'all know how I first started off speaking Hebrew? Huh? With no vowels.
Oh.
Other than the A vowel.
Oh, yeah.
That's the school of thought I was under. I started off speaking with the A class vowels. And I'm not ashamed to say that. But y'all know there's a lot of people that's really fluent in what's commonly called the biblical Hebrew today that makes mockery of people that speak the same thing that they started speaking like I did. And something that me and someone was talking about this week. I love my brothers in the camps. See, where we differ at with a lot of people is Israel was scattered into tribes, right? Tribes and communities. Israel had tribes and communities. There are certain tribes that may not be doing exactly the same thing our tribe is doing, but it's not mean they're not our brothers. There are some tribes that will not accept us right now. And when I say tribes, I'm not trying to say Judah, Benjamin, Levi. I'm just using the term tribe because that's how we were scattered. So there's some tribes, since we were tribal, that will not accept us because of our viewpoint on certain things. We don't wear the same type fringes. So you ain't gonna speak to me because I don't believe a ZZ is a fringe. We wear both. We wear the fringe and we wear the Z's. That's not a reason to separate. That's what we understand at the time. The dialect that you use is a separation point, separation marker. But in the text, there were people that had different dialects in the text that we can clearly see, and they still did things together, right? So what I'm saying is we are one people. So back to the original point. So I love my brothers in the camps. I'm not going to be the one as the world has been doing, not the world, but a lot of us in our community has been doing right now. They're coming online going against the brothers up in the camps. Oh, I ain't going to be a part of no camp. Well, unlike your leadership, I would tell you I was with the brothers at one point. But when the Most High revealed certain things, but I'm not going to hide my pedigree. I'm not going to hide my foundation. Why? The reason why a lot of us woke up was because of the brothers out there in the streets. Now, before anybody want to stone me, it's because of the Most High we woke up. And because of the Ruach we woke up. But because the Most High sent soldiers out there screaming loud, crying aloud, sparing not, saying, "Thus saith the Most High." And people's out there like, man, that is true. That is true. I get with it. I just can't get with that. That part I just don't like all that hate. And I just can't see where he's telling me to hate everybody. And he telling me I can just disrespect people and be mean to people. That part I don't. But man, I can't argue that it says I should be keeping Sabbath. I can't argue that it says I should be keeping feast. I can't argue that it says I should love my wife, I should love my husband, I should commit adultery. I can't argue that. It's what it say. I can't argue that they say these laws are done away with and what they teach you in the church is a lie. I can't argue with that because I'm reading it for myself. That is true. And then we woke up and then we all started gathering and congregating what? Together. Because of some of the works that they're putting out. So because we may differ with some things, it's not a reason for the division that we have. We may be not together, but we don't have to be divided. And what I mean by that is we may never worship together, but we don't have to be anti one another because of slight differences. So what I'm trying to teach us is we're not going to make mockery of how anybody speaks the language and their preferred way they're speaking the language or their understood way of speaking the language. But we would now say, you know what? But we're informed. We see why they may be pronouncing it different than me because the school of thought where they are may only use only vowels and with no vowels. And that's why they say Yahweh. Yahweh. Or that's why they say Yahweh. 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 So like you said, who can say it's right? Yahweh. Or somebody might say Yahweh. They might pronounce every letter, but they're trying to pronounce this. So that's what my Yeshua was asking last week, and I want everybody to visually be able to see it. And if we're not to a certain point to say, you know what, I want to serve the Most High, and he said, I would rather you know my laws or my ways than my name. Because knowing his name is what? Is righteousness. That's why he says all these attributes by him. He's peace, he's love, he's righteous, he's jealous. That's what contains his name. All that's contained in his name. So again, may y'all be praised, may y'all be esteemed always and forevermore. Any questions, any comments? And definitely if anybody's Ruach is trouble, please let me know now so we can try to edify and clear things up. Yes, sir.
Uncle Samak, so for this one, yeah, when I pronounce it Yahuwah, for the Yod Hey Wahe with the comments underneath the Y and then the Shiva underneath the Yod. Where do I get like the O sound and when I have pronounced it the first time?
It's not there. That's why I said that. It's not there. There's no O there. This way. Not the way it's 5 point, there's no O there.
Oh.
That's what I was saying. Now, there's an O here, and there's an O here. And if you look in your concordance, if anybody look in the Strong's concordance, the way they're going to have it written is going to be the bottom way. All right? And when you see that, you have, real quick, another thing that we used to jump on board with was people saying that Jehovah, right? So they were saying Jehovah. So when the churches started saying Jehovah, I remember being in the church, if they said Jehovah, there were certain Christian churches that if you weren't just saying God, it was a problem. They were talking about Jehovah. They don't use that name Jehovah. I mean, the name even in Christianity has been a thing, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, what ain't Jehovah Witnesses? We believe in God and Christ, right? But those that was using Jehovah was just simply trying to pronounce what we would have here for us, Jehovah, right? The modern Germanic sound with the Y being a V, making it a V. And the J that was written there, they wouldn't have pronounced the J as a D, they would pronounce the J as a Y, but us English speakers, we utilize the J as the J sound, the common J sound. So instead of them saying Yehovah or Jehovah, they're saying Jehovah because they're switching the Y to a V, and they're switching the J sound, which should have been a Yod, they're making it a Y, and then because they spell it J-E. In transliteration, these vowel symbols translate differently too. So the way you would write, like in transliteration, and this is going to be above where we're going today, but in transliteration, meaning you bring in the sound over from one language into another language, all right? So transliteration is bringing the sound from one language into another language. So when they were bringing the words over into the English language, they were writing. But when you have a shawah, or when you have a certain vowel symbol, and it can both be A-class vowels, they might put an upside down E. Or they might put a real super small E. It don't mean pronounce it as an E. It's just telling you to pronounce it more as a short A. But when we see it from an English perspective, not understanding the dynamics of the Hebrew rules, then we may say Jehovah or Yehovah. You know what I'm saying? Yehovah. Versus they would just probably say Yehovah, Yehovah, or you have some say Yahweh, but Yehovah. So it wasn't really, they were trying to spell it J-E or Y-E. It's just in transliteration, there's also not only the Hebrew side we have to learn, but then we also have to learn the coming over from when it's transliterated from Hebrew over into English and how they're transliterating these vowel symbols into the English word to let you know that, okay, when you pronounce this, you're pronouncing it so you can take it back to Hebrew, understanding those grammar rules. And even that for me is a task because there'll be many teachers that would tell you that look, as long as you know how to spell it properly, you know how to sound it out, that's one thing. But don't nobody expect us to be skilled enough to be trying to sit right here and be able to transliterate it back and put the exact right vowel signs written down. All right. So hope this helped, Miss Pakai, for you to visually understand what my Ishah was asking, because certain times things are written differently. And I'm going to give you another one real quick, and we won't get to the other portion of the reading today, since we're here so we can see it. I want to make sure I spell it right. Y'all don't get at me because yes, I do need notes. I mean, I'm going to the script because my Isha spell checks my English words. So I'm not always the best with spelling. I know my limitations. What do we have here, anybody? Hmm? You have what? Okay. Okay. Because she recognized the name. All right. What do you see?
I'm just using the A.
You say Yahweh Shah, huh?
Yes.
So you say Yahweh Shah and you say Yahweh Shah, right? Yahweh Shah. Huh?
Is that a what?
Where?
Beside the hay. Your
Yeah.
hay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure.
Yeah, that was a little. I had a little bit of extra on that.
I thought that was that way.
Yeah, no, I had a little extra on that. So what do y'all have there?
I was just using the A class vowel with no, because there's no vowel points. So
All right, let me put one more. Y'all got just a little bit more time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm? What do we have here?
So,
Yeah.
Who said Yahushua?
She did not.
She like, I'm just a sister. I ain't saying that, she did. All right. So y'all help me out. So somebody sound the first one out for me again. So the sister said Yahweh Shah, right? Because there's no vowel. So she said Yahweh Shah. So she closed it at Yahweh Shah is what she said. All right. And then I think you said for this one was what, Nicole?
Yahusha, but I was saying it how
Yahusha.
you see it.
She said Yahusha. Okay. Because, but how would you say that's Yahusha now? Because before she can recognize the letters, basically what she now does is something that most people can't do. She know the letters, Yod, Hey, Wah, Shin, Ayin. So without the vowel points, I've seen this in the text plenty of times.
yes.
So even though he don't put the vowel points up there, I know what that word is. There's people that's going to argue with you that can't tell you what that word is because they can't tell you what this letter is. That's what I'm saying about how shallow these arguments are when we're making these things. So she went on to pronounce what she knew to pronounce because I know what that word is based upon her understanding it, reading in her text, reading her Bible, and being able to recognize the Hebrew consonants, all right? So, and Shaquan used, because there's no vowel points up there, so she pronounced it Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shah is what she said, right? Is either one of them wrong?
no.
Not necessarily. Now, what do we have down here at the bottom?
Yeah. Sure.
So you say Yahweh Shawah. So she said Yahweh Shawah. Yahweh Shawah. She said Yahweh Shah for this one. She said Yahweh Shawah for this one. Why? There's an extra Wah here. Are these two names different?
No.
Are those two names different? Shemai said no. They are not. But do they appear to be different?
Yes.
Why do they appear to be different?
Or the extra letter.
Because there's an extra letter, right? But this is the way it would more likely be written as the name. And this way is the shortened form of the long form. Now, I'm gonna add this.
Oh, I see.
Huh?
No, I was looking at something. That might be a whole part. Okay.
So now I'm gonna put some vowel points on this top one, right? All right. So now back to the question that Ashar was asking last week. Do we read it how we read it? Or do we read it how we read it? Do we read it how we say it? So now the sister said Yahusha here, right? And you can get that why? Because with the maters, Yahoo, she switched that to you, Yahusha, right? Without the vowels. And the sister said Yahusha, but you can still get that because we don't know which vowel system to use, then that's the way one may pronounce it. Y'all see how the differences coming out?
Yeah.
All right. So now if we're reading it and it's vowel pointed like this, what do you have here? Huh? Say it again.
Yahushua.
You saying Yahushua? Where you getting who from?
Because I got the Quebec.
I got this in the wrong place. I got it too far away. Yeah, let me put it on here. It'd be what?
Yahushu.
It'd be what?
Yahushu.
Yahoshu. What you said, Shemai? Baby girl, say it loud again. You said Yahoshua? Yahoshua? Yahoshua. Yahushua? Yahoshua. Yahoshua? Yahoshua. The effective writing, they put the vowel point there to do away with the actual way ancient Hebrews would have had the vowel letters, the matrix of sonus with the vowel letter. So instead of them writing longhand, when they started writing with shorthand of the effective writing, they put the vowel sound here in the place of the actual letter. So these two would actually be pronounced exactly the same. But with defective writing or shorthand, they took the letter out and just put the vowel sign under there. So without the vowel points, we can get Yahusha, as my sister said. You can get Yahusha, as my sister said. With the vowel points, you have Yahoshua. Yahoshua. If you take the holum off and use that as, if you take the holum off, as Taylor said, because some people say Yahusha, some say Yahosha, some say Yahushua. Are we going to argue the O's and U's? Misha said, I can't go back to Baltimore anymore. She said, she's taking my Baltimore pass from me. I can't go back. But where we say blue or hot dog, Baltimore, they say hot dog. So when we use hot dog with an O, they say hot dog, right? Yahoo, Yahoo. It's like the Baltimore versus just what you're choosing. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know for sure what scholar is right with if it was an O or if it was a U. But what I am saying is that from the transliteration of the books that we have today, and then using the vowel point system for the books that we use, we have to go stand in an academic setting. And we have to stand with people that's saying, read this. And they try to make mockery out of us. And we get up here and can't read what it say. They're gonna be like, well, see, they don't know what they're talking about. But I can get up there and read it as it's written. And if it had the whole back here, and I can get up and read it as we do here in class, yes, I know that's Yehoshua, because I can read it. And the holum wa here is not a U, how they have it pronounced. And so another thing that we've done in our community also, we get heavy on who's right about the O or the U. And so we start separating, and then you have intercongregationally, people start to use one or the other, and then it start bringing a division in the congregation that will start to be one. So again, Mr. McCall, that's what we're up against, but I just want you to be able to see it for yourself. And I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. I just want you to be able to understand why we're not going to make mockery, why we're not going to say who's right or wrong. And I will tell you, it's a lot of time that go into studying to be able to explain this stuff. Again, I'm not teaching you. I'm studying out loud. And it takes a lot of study to understand a lot of the stuff that I'm studying out loud with my brothers and my sisters. Takes a lot of time and a lot of study to get these rules, to understand these rules, to also say which rules that you support and not support and your why, because outside of just reading the rules, then you also look at other languages of the same Shemitic language system or same Shemitic people, and then you see how in linguistics, how linguistic people majors, what they do, okay, this comes from this region. This comes from the Shemitic people. This comes from the Phoenician. This comes from, and so if, just like when the brothers were saying this made an I sound, when all other Shemitic languages have the ayin as a guttural in the throat, in the throat sound, that's the way you now start to form, like you say, okay, I see when they change things, like as far as, I don't believe ayin is silent, and I don't believe aleph is silent. And there's Hebrew teachers that would tell you that ayin and aleph isn't silent. But modernly, they say that it is silent. So even though we're studying the rules, then we go to the point and say, but here's the reason why I don't support this rule, even though if I read it in an academic setting, if I'm reading at a place and I'm reading from what they have written, I can read it with an understanding of how the rules actually operate. And that's my reason for doing this today. So that was a good question last week. And anytime y'all have questions, please don't be fearful to ask. And if I don't have the answer, I will seek it out or seek someone that can give us the information or the answer to the questions that we have. And that's what it's about when we come to class. It's not just about coming to be taught. We're coming to learn together. So again, Ishti, which is my wife, that was a good question last week. But for those that said they couldn't see what she was asking, that's what she was basically asking. Because she know, like a lot of times we get to people read it the way they say it, because they know what it is, but they're not reading what they're reading sometimes based upon what's actually written in the text. And so that's another lesson for another time. So all praise to the Most High. Taylor, that was a very good question you asked last week also. So and we got to see the application of the Shawah in actually these words that we were utilizing today. So all praise to the Most High for you asking that. And that just, again, it gives me motivation. When you came up last Shabbat and asked me that gave me motivation. I said, wow, got a young man coming to ask me about the language, So again, praise be to the Most High that even our Yaladim is trying to return to the culture and they want to embrace this, as well as with our elders that's sitting here patiently with us going through all this information. Because just like the children, and when we were children Shemaiah age to learn, the elders ain't got to crack out the books like we have to do. But they can. They're sitting there and they're like, okay, I see what they're saying. I see the sounds up there. And even though I didn't go study out how to do it, I'm studying with them. I'm listening to them study it out loud. And I can see what they're talking about. Now I understand what's being said the same way the elders now know. Zehayo. Zehayo. Asayahwa. Asayahwa again. Zehayo. Zehayo. Asayahwa. Asayahwa. Nagila. Nagila. All right, let's start right here. We will rejoice. We will rejoice. All right, all praise to the Most High. And that's how we're going to build our vocabulary, one word at a time, one phrase at a time. And we're going to be reading through. So we will not get to the reading at this point. But anybody that wants to read with us after the fact, please, when we sit here at the end of the service, if you want to read your Hebrew, come talk to me. I'll be glad to crack it out when we get into it. So I'm just throwing it out there. So we here. I know you're kind of who love to get into it also. So we here if y'all want to get into it after service. So with that, I'm not going to yield the floor for y'all to give y'all testimonies if they don't have testimonies. But again, Kal Halal, which is all praise be unto the Most High Yah. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. Blessed be the name. Oh, Shlika. One thing I did want to get Yekanahu, while we're here. If you could just read this for me real quick, Yekanahu, go to me, Tehillim 118. Since we was talking about the name. Tehillim, which again y'all learned is going to be Psalms chapter 118. And read it for me in the Greek, if you would, Adoni. 118, verse 20, verse 26.
So, Baruch haba Bashem Yahweh.
That's what we want. Say it one more time.
Baruch haba Bashem Yahweh.
So a lot of times y'all may hear in gatherings, other places they say Baruch haba Yahuwah, Baruch haba Bashem Yahuwah. That's blessed be he that cometh in the name of Yah. So, and then the last portion of that, and we bless you out of the house of Yah. But the point I want to focus on is blessed be he that come in the name of Yah. So y'all hear how we in our prayers with blessed be he who comes in the name of Yah. That's where this is coming from. It's coming from because it's something that the prophet says. Blessed be he that cometh in the name of Yah. That's why when we're in our prayers, when y'all hear us say, blessed be Yah, blessed be the name of Yah, and blessed is he who comes in the name of Yah, that's from the words of the prophets. So a lot of times we have to also stop knocking what the church do, because majority of the church songs come from Tehillim and from Psalms, a lot of them. We got to stop with that ignorance too. It's a level of ignorance. And then also when we're actually saying things here, a lot of what we're doing, even in our community, is coming forth from the word also. We're not just creating things, we just now using it from the Hebrew perspective a lot of times. But Baruch haba, you know what I'm saying? So blessed be he who comes in the name of Yah. So that's the reason why we started in and out prayer like that. And even when you hear those that say, what's another ending? Bahashem Yahusha. Some say in the name of Yahusha, Yahushua, Yahshua. You know what I'm saying? If that's not what they say blessed is he, blessed in the name of, because he comes in the name of what? So that concept of him coming in the Father's name, you saying in his name, but for the sake of being all things to all people, like in a Messianic congregation, no one really takes offense to Bahashem Yahusha, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Yahushua. No one takes offense to that. But then there will be those who are not where we are and trying to introduce them to the Most High and trying to have a fellowship, to have a comment. And also, because in the text, when you read about the prayer, the Mashiach told them to end the prayer with Amen, right? So be it. So we said a place where we can still be a cog with others. That's why me and Moreh Baruch started using blessed be he who comes in the name of Yah, because it's still gonna be the same as blessed by Hashem Yahushua, because he comes in the name of what? And as my Isha said about Yahuda, she's like, I see Yah in it. Could that be Yehuda? Could that be Yehuda? I keep seeing Yah in that. So in Yahusha, Yahushua's name is also the name of what? Yah. And it said he comes in his father's name, and Yah is salvation. So with that, I just want y'all to know where that comes from when we say blessed be he that comes in the name of Yah. We say that because these prophets, when they was coming with the word of the Most High, then they were also saying blessed be he who comes in the name of Yah. And anyone that's coming in the name of Yah, anyone that was sitting in the name of Yah, may they be blessed. So I yield. If anyone has any testimony, any praise at this time to give unto the Most High, we yield the floor to you all.